Abdullah AJJ Dabo, correct?
Correct.
And your testimony is that you removed him from the shrubs where he was hiding, correct?
Correct.
And then you had a conversation with him.
Yes.
And what was the conversation? Can kindly remind us?
Because when I saw him, I told him, class, what are you doing here? You are not supposed to be here. You are a clerk. You are supposed to be in the offices. That's the time I turned back to see if anybody was paying attention, but unfortunately for him, people were watching at me, so I have no choice than to arrest and hand him over.
So he was taken to the cells?
Yes.
From there?
Yes.
And your testimony is that he was not beaten?
No.
And what happened next after the arrest of Dabo?
After the arrest of Dabo, for a while, the council members feel that now there are no other people coming because Yundum was their point to gather. Those from Fajara barracks will come to Yundum. Then when they have the strength, then they can come out and attack the State House.
How about Mr. Abdullah Dotfal? What happened to him?
Dotfal was captured.
Can you tell us the circumstances of his capture?
As soon as he was unable to escape, he was in the same vehicle with those that I mentioned. So he was captured there, including Abdullah Dabo, and taken to the guard room.
He was not beaten?
No.
And he was taken to the guard room?
He was taken to the guard room.
That is your testimony?
Say again, sir?
That is your testimony?
Yes, Counsel.
How about Mafuji Sonko? Do you know him?
No, I saw him when he was giving his testimony. Mafuji was a gendarme officer, and after 94 he was still at Fajara barracks, so I was unable to know him.
What if I tell you that he was in the same vehicle with Abdullah Dotfal?
Yes, I will agree with that, but I didn't know Mafuji in person. But I saw his testimony and he testified that he was the driver.
Do you recall any of those persons captured from Dotfal's vehicle? Do you know whether any one of them was beaten?
No, in my presence, no.
May I ask the technicians to play a video of Abdullah Dabo? Let's hear what he has to say about his own capture.
Okay.
Well, I was immediately when I was about to land, then there was the time I was hit by one of the guards of Peter, who was my batch mate, whom I know personally.
Can you tell us his name as well as his rank?
Mustafa Toure and Pa Senghor.
Where did he start hitting you?
From the vehicle.
And can you tell us exactly where the vehicle was parked?
The vehicle was on the road.
Yeah.
Mustafa Toure, one of the guards of Peter, whom was well. I was immediately when I was about to land. Then there was the time I was hit by one of the guards of Peter, who was my batch mate, whom I know personally.
Can you tell us his name as well as his rank?
Mustafa Toure and Pa Senghor.
Where did he start hitting you?
From the vehicle.
And can you tell us exactly where the vehicle was parked?
The vehicle was on the road. You know, when we receive a gunshot, that's the time LF stopped the vehicle, then he ran.
So both of these individuals, guards to Edward Sinyate, were hitting you. Can you tell us how they were hitting you?
No, they were hitting me with their legs, hands, gun butts. They were hitting me with their AK-47s. Some would kick me with their legs, some would knock me with hands.
At that time, apart from those two individuals, did anyone else hit you?
Yeah, Edward hit me personally.
Can you tell us how he hit you?
Edward, he came and held this finger. He just pulled it like this, then started slapping me.
And just to make sure it's clear, when you say Edward, who are you referring to?
Edward Singate, the former vice chairperson, chairman, AFRC, and the Minister of Defense.
After he did that to you, did anyone else hit you or do anything to you?
Yeah, there were many. I cannot recognize. Even these two I mentioned are not the only person who were surrounding me. There were many, because at that time you cannot recognize who, but these two were my batch mates in the army. I know them personally. Later, Pasengor, who told me that, class, why are you here with these people?
What did you say to him?
I did not respond to him.
As a result of those beatings, did you sustain any injuries?
Where I sustained, I have a rib problem, which I'm suffering still now. My ribs are still paining me. They sometimes pain me. At times, I cannot even...
Mr. Witness, is that your class, Ablai AJJ Dabo?
Yes, he is.
You had his testimony under oath?
Very well.
You had him mention your name, Pasengor, as his class?
Very well.
You had him say that he was not arrested from the shrubs, he was arrested from inside the vehicle. Did you hear that?
I heard it.
Did you also hear that when you removed him from the vehicle, instantly you and Edward Singate and his entourage started beating him? You heard that?
I heard him.
Who's lying?
Well, I respect his view, but...
And his view is that he was beaten
from... No, I disagree with that.
You disagree with that?
Yes, Counsel.
You're saying he was not beaten?
In my presence, he was not.
No. You were present when he was taken out of the vehicle, correct?
No, I took him out of the shrubs, like I said before.
But do you really think that Abdullah Dabo would forget how he was arrested?
I don't think so.
Do you think he would forget that he was beaten at the time he was arrested?
I don't think so.
Do you think that he would forget that you have beaten him if you have not?
I don't think so.
Then why are you disagreeing with him?
I disagreed with him. Like I said earlier, that's where I found Abdullah. It is because of his boots. I knew that this is somebody. Then I didn't know who it is.
Mr. Witness, you simply do not want to implicate yourself in the beating, in the assault of Abdullah Dabo. So you're concocting this story in which you're trying to extricate yourself from responsibility.
No, Counsel, it is not like that.
Well, you heard Abdullah Dabo, he said you beat him.
Yes. But
had Abdullah Dabo explained that Edward Singate beat him.
I heard him.
You had him identify those he knew or those who he recognized, didn't you?
Yes, I heard him.
And he was honest enough to say that the other people he did not recognize. Why would Abdullah Dabo identify you as one of the people who beat him when you were simply trying to help him?
Counsel, the situation at that moment was very chaotic. He might see me, knows me in person, but anything that happens, he might also say I was part of it.
No, he said you hit him.
I didn't. I disagree with that statement, Counsel.
Well, you have a reason too, because you want to save your skin.
Not like that, Counsel.
Okay, let's hear Mafuji. You said nobody was beaten when they were arrested there. Not Dotfal, not Barrow, not Ablai Dabo, not Mafuji. You saw nobody beaten. Let's hear what Mafuji has to say. Technicians, kindly play the video of Mafuji's testimony at the point he was talking about his arrest and the arrest of others.
Jele mu ngani sojaro minu be chika minu be ben na moto kono abe ibe sauntale bota moto kono motolo bunda yele be fintita.
At that time, all of these soldiers that I was carrying opened the doors of the vehicle and they jumped out.
Lieutenant Elef Jamme.
Lieutenant Elef Jamme.
Ate bortale aning amonyo do itolle borta ikanata bare toma kotengolo aninte be tuyem tole be mutajele.
It was Lieutenant Elef Jamme and another guy who managed to escape, but the rest of us, including myself, were captured.
Ntolmo woro mentata namanke nyi mofulo minutata nyi tomal be tuyem be mutajele.
Out of the 6 that left, that arrived at the Indom barracks, apart from the 2 that escaped, the rest of us were all captured.
Yen wura jelet.
There we were undressed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. Do you recall who led the officers that captured you?
Fo hakilo bulada mola miyalonko wale nyin sojarol nyatonko ya sojarol miyalonko wale temuda.
Fo ngalon ne minialon ko nyin nyaton kol kono minien tolomuta.
Whether if I know who led the soldiers that captured us?
Yes. Or who was the actual soldier who captured you?
Wala sojaro min fonga yete muta.
Ha ngalon.
Yes, I know.
Kindly tell us, please.
Afo mole.
Lieutenant Peter Singate.
Lieutenant Peter Singate.
Anin Samba Bach Edward Singate la driver.
And Samba Bach who drives for Edward Singate.
Nyulem molti minialon ko nyaton ka fulolu minibe lori wod lato yamuta damen anin nyi molu anin nyi sojar kote ngol be.
They were the leaders of the soldiers just captured me and my colleagues.
Bach Samba, do you know his last name?
Nyim Bach Samba, foya konton lo neba.
Fa konton no konton malo memur baren ka kili Samba Bach.
I do not know, but we used to call him Samba Bach.
Would the name Samba Bach Jallo ring a bell? Would it mean something to you?
Niko Bach Samba Jallo, fo we fen ke hakilo kono leba.
Anyway, Jallo ko Jallo fenko dan malon de barante ngalon Samba Bach.
Well, I do not know about this Jallo
staff
thing, but we call him Samba Bach. He was a staff sergeant. He was a sergeant.
The witness said staff sergeant, but you said you were arrested, you were captured, and you were undressed. Could you tell whether you were left with any form of clothing or not?
Sako iko yal mutale. Kabri yal muta yal wurang. Ako sayang kabri wo wuran ro kola. Fo ye fentual balala komi walen siti fan total balo balala.
Drosol damale tutambala.
We were only left with our knickers.
You said some escaped. Do you know towards which direction they escaped?
Iko dol Canada. Sayang fo yalo na mil Canada. Itatani ma fongo minaba.
Bortale dunta fenko kono ma fangola airport auto ma fangola so tata je nyawnya nyama je nta fono la kat mambule no mantre kono.
They ran towards the airport end, and so but I cannot say how they got there because I was not following them, so I would not know.
That is perfectly understandable, Mr. Witness. So after you were undressed, how many of you were in fact captured at this point? 2 escaped. And do I take it that it was 5 of you who were captured?
Ako sayang kabri yal wurang foka pare. Sa ye moja le muta katu fula kanata la foka pare. Sa kam to ko atol mo lulle wato.
Ha.
Ko walem.
Ha de.
Yes.
What happened after you were stripped of your military uniforms?
Ako mune keta kabri ya le uniformol bondal ba le soldat uniformol kabri ya bondal bala mune natake.
Biriye o uniformol be bondi mbala mbebe larin dumale mo mallo asingola de mbebe larin dumale nka kurolle.
Once we were stripped of our uniforms, we were all lying on the ground. We were crawling. None of us was standing.
Were you lying down as a matter of choice or not?
Fo atol aliye o la minke adiata al fongole bang aliye la duma bang fo amanka sawoti.
Force ole munde ye la de ibe damfula ibe chikla I camera footballo ike damfula ibe chikla ibe larin duma ibe tala ibe kurolla.
We were forced to lie on the ground and we were being kicked and compelled to crawl.
Apart from being kicked, were you hit by anything else?
Kabri ka bondi je kal damfu dorong fo ya lipa fendo fanala.
Chidi juo wole kata tengi be jumfula la tengi.
They were using rifle butts
and be chikla
hitting us with it and giving us blows and kicking us.
Mr. Witness, you can stand up and demonstrate how it was being done.
Sedo, isa lo nole ya itandi mola keta no nyami ya kala no nyami. Isa lo no ya itandi.
Thank you so much. It will be a pleasure for me to stand up and show you exactly how it happens. To show you the behavior of soldiers.
He said the madness of soldiers.
The soldier is wicked. I can't hear him, so.
Peter Singate. Samba Bach.
The Singati and Samba Bach.
Ani sojar kotengol minia lonko wol dolbe ci lebe bulu amanke chakan ko te ngakuma le fale jam.
I'm not joking. I'm telling you something very serious.
Mo buke mira comme ko ibe balula le because ka fonyele life comme mbali be falale.
At that time none of us was thinking of surviving because the message they told us they were going to kill us. Crawl. We are lined.
Peter
Singate stands behind.
Samba Bach
stands.
Other
soldiers are standing. But Peter. But he stands and the soldiers line up in front of him. And he's behind them with Samba Bach.
Fuck them.
And they order them to tell them to fuck them.
These nonsense people. He can check.
They kick us as we crawl. As we are crawling. We're facing one side crawling. And they'll be kicking us and be using rifle butts and striking us from the back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. You may be seated now. In this process, did you sustain any injuries?
My left hand, up to now, I find it difficult to raise it up.
And was that as a result of the injuries you sustained on that occasion?
Is correct.
He is correct. When did you realize that he is correct?
I never saw him being tortured.
Mr. Witness, you were there. It's the same vehicle. Yes. These witnesses alighted from the vehicle. They were all apprehended. He told you 5 of them were apprehended, and they were lined up, forced to crawl, and were being beaten as they were forced to crawl.
So, like I said before, when I arrested my class, he was taken to the guard room and detained.
You had your class say no, that he was being beaten there, and you participated in beating him.
I disagreed, Counsel.
You had Mafuji. He said Peter Singate, Samba Bach, and those older soldiers who were there at the time, who obviously include you, were beating him. You disagree with that too?
Counsel, for Mafuji's case, I only saw Mafuji in the TV. Like I said before, I've never known Mafuji. So I couldn't tell whether he was tortured or not.
Yes, but what I am driving at, Mr. Witness, is that those people who were captured from that vehicle claim that they were beaten. You disagree with that?
I cannot remember this, Counsel.
Selective amnesia. You're trying to remember selectively the things that favor you.
Not like that, Counsel.
You did not want to see any evil. You did not want to see, or you do not want to testify about anybody being beaten at all.
All I am saying is correct, Counsel.
Ensa Mendy, he was in your group, you recall?
I recalled.
He testified that those people were beaten mercilessly.
Yes, Esa could know better than me because he's always near his boss.
My friend, you were there when AJJ Dabo was arrested.
Yes.
AJJ could not have been far away from the other people with whom he was in that same vehicle.
Yes, like I said, that day the situation...
Which therefore puts you in close proximity with Esa Mendy and all those who went to the vehicle.
You know, there's no specific positions that you will stand. People were mingling around, so...
Isn't it really the case, Mr. Witness, that you are avoiding to say the fact that you saw these people beaten, and worse still, you are avoiding to admit the fact that you participated in the torture of these people who were arrested?
Counsel, I would have just said it if I knew.
You don't have the courage to do you, to accept responsibility for your act.
It's not about that, Counsel.
All right, let's move on. From there, you said these people were put in the guard room. What happened after that?
What happened after that was the council members feel that maybe nobody will come again, so we should go to Fajara Barracks.
Yes, tell us. How did you go to Fajara Barracks?
By means of transportation vehicles.
So, in which vehicle did you join? Do you recall?
No, I cannot recall, but I was in one of these vehicles, a four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive, you said? Okay. And how did you place, where in the vehicle did you place your gun?
At the boot.
At the boot of the... All right. So, tell us what happened when you arrived at Fajara Barracks.
When we arrived at Fajara Barracks, we entered through the back gate coming from the Bakau football field. We used that back gate and entered. As soon as we entered, we form an extended line, then we start firing.
So, at what point did you start walking?
Just when you entered that road coming to the back gate.
How many meters away from inside the barracks?
Approximately 200 meters.
200 meters?
It's where the vehicle stopped.
The back gate and the inside the barracks, 200 meters?
Yes, Consul.
Okay. So from which point did you start firing?
The moment that extended line was formed.
Which was at what stage, at what point in the barracks?
Sorry, come again, sir.
At what point in the barracks? As you entered the barracks or as you moved further into the barracks?
As we entered, we formed that extended line.
And then you started firing?
Start firing.
And how many meters did you have to move into the barracks before you stopped firing?
This must be, the barracks is too big. If I can estimate it, I will say nearly a kilometer. Because this is from one end of the barracks to the other.
My friend, Fajara Barracks cannot be 1 kilometer long.
It's a very big barracks.
We all know Fajara Barracks. In fact, the commission has visited Fajara Barracks. The barracks cannot be 1 kilometer long. If you enter from the back gate to the guard room, it's maybe approximately 200 meters or 300 meters at most.
Far way more than that, Council.
Okay, let's say 1 kilometer. Right, we give that to you. Serious exaggeration, but let's say it's one kilometer. How many rounds did you fire?
I cannot remember the exact number of rounds I fired, but I do fired a lot of rounds.
You fired a lot of rounds?
Yes.
Where were you shooting?
Where was I?
At what were you shooting?
We were just opening fire going.
So you were just firing random anywhere?
Randomly, exactly.
Any which direction?
Exactly.
No targeting, no aiming, you just shooting?
Correct.
So it's just emitting bullets?
That's correct.
How many drums did you finish?
I can't estimate it, but I was having more than 500 rounds with me.
You emptied all?
Not all.
Half?
I couldn't even fire the half.
You did not even fire half?
Yes.
And it's a machine gun?
Yes.
So how many rounds, if you put it on burst, how long would it take to do 200 rounds?
A burst can take out 2 to 3 rounds at a time.
Yeah, so 2 to 3 rounds per second, is it, or per minute?
A second.
A second. So therefore, to fire 200 rounds would be 200 divided by 3, right? That would give you the number of seconds, right? So that should be about, I'm not so good in maths, I'm a lawyer. That's our excuse anyway. But it's 200 divided by 3. So that should be about 80-something, or say 90-something. No, 60-something, yes. Say 65 or 66? 66, yeah? So 1 minute, you pretty much exhaust 200 rounds, correct?
That's correct.
So then you stopped firing. You fired for about 1 minute, you stopped firing. Then you arrive at the guard room. Tell us what happened after that. So how long did it take you to arrive at the guard room area?
Actually, we didn't go directly to the guard room per se. We stopped around the building of the barn and drum. It's where a ceasefire was called. So the moment I stopped mine and applied my safety catch, I collapsed.
Why did you collapse?
I was breathing a lot of gas coming from my machine gun. So this weakens me. I was lacked of strength. So I was carried in a fireman form, fireman carrier we call it. This guy will grab here, that one will grab here, and they took you to the guard room. I was taken to the guard room and placed in one of these beds. It's when I heard noise of soldiers again, I knew that they are back, because I heard them saying they are going to take the captives to Mile 2. So when they came back, the noise, I forced myself and get up, take off my arms again, and went outside. So there an order was given that all those who came from State House can go back. So we arrived in Banjul maybe after 6 a.m. towards 7, something like that.
So you did not witness the shooting of the captured soldiers?
They were not shooting. When they were captured, they were taken to Mile 2.
Mr. Witness, again, you have concocted a story to extricate you from what happened at Fajara Barracks.
It's not actually like that. In Fajara Barracks, even to my surprise, I came to know that there was not even a wounded somebody.
Okay. So as soon as you put in your safety catch, you collapsed?
Yes.
From the gas?
Yes.
That's your testimony?
Yes.
But the gas in the machine gun does not make anybody collapse?
It can, including the way it was shaking my body.
Mr. Witness, we have looked at this. The gas does not make anybody collapse.
It is possible, Counsel.
Well,
like I said earlier, that
let's take it step by step. Let's look at what you have said to the investigators. Your first meeting with the investigators, you said it was the gas, correct?
Yes.
But when you did your statement, you changed your story. You said you collapsed out of exhaustion.
Yes.
That's in your statement.
Yes.
And now again, you have reverted back to the issue of the gas.
Yes.
Because you have realized that we have already set you up to show that you have used that gun from the bridge all the way to State House without collapsing.
Because there we didn't fire.
That is why now you are trying to use the gas again as an excuse. You didn't know you would be asked these questions, did you?
No, Counsel. This can be a combination of that exhaustion and the gas.
Your statement does not say that. Your statement says it's exhaustion. So you see, Mr. Witness, you tried to extricate yourself from this.
It's not like that.
You try to see no evil. You try to hear no evil. You try to participate in no evil. You're trying to shield yourself from responsibility. That's why you faked this collapse, which never occurred.
No, it did occur, Counsel.
Would it surprise you to note that no witness ever mentioned that?
It is possible, but this is what happens to me.
And do you know that Yankuba Toure is alleged to have collapsed at Fajara Barracks? The witnesses, at Yundum Barracks, the witnesses said it.
No, I didn't realize that.
You did not realize, but people who were close to him realized that happened, and they said it. But nobody mentioned you collapsing.
I did, and this is the truth, Counsel.
And an order was given for all those from State House to return to State House. That's your testimony.
Yes.
And you guys returned to State House.
Yes.
Would it surprise you to note, okay, let me rephrase, Manlafi Kaur, he was from State House, wasn't he?
No, Manlafi was at Fajara Barracks then.
At that time, Manlafi Kaur was from State House.
Well, I cannot recall that.
Mr. Witness, don't try to play games. Soldiers were not taken from Fajara Barracks to go and fight. Soldiers were taken from State House, correct?
That's correct.
Manlafi Kaur participated in those events, didn't he?
I cannot recall seeing Manlafi.
Yes, you would pretend now,
because
you know that Manlafi is from State House and he participated.
To my knowledge, Manlafi was at Fajara Barracks.
Witnesses have him at State House. Witnesses have him participating in Fajara Barracks. Witnesses have him participating in Yundum Barracks. What do you say to that?
It's possible, but to my own recollection, I cannot recall seeing Manlafi.
How about Babukar Mbup?
Yes, Babukar was a State Guard member.
Yes, but Babukar went back to Yundum Barracks.
To State House.
Babukar went back to Yundum Barracks. That is the evidence.
I cannot recall that.
We have a statement from Babukar. He said he went back to, all of you went back to Yundum Barracks.
No, I disagreed.
Mr. Witness, it is the case that you want to extricate yourself from what happened at Yundum Barracks. So now you concoct this story that you went back to State House.
That is what happens, Counsel.
What happened? You went back to State House or you went back to Yundum Barracks?
Back to State House.
How?
By means of transportation.
You went alone?
No.
You went back with the staff, the fighters from State House, all 46 of you. You see, Mr. Witness, that is completely different from the testimony that all the soldiers provided. It's your own imagination, calculated to deceive the commission.
No, Counsel.
You can deny as much as you want, but you have not offered anything to suggest that the evidence received by the commission is false. And you have an interest in getting the commission to accept your own version, because your own version would remove you from those who committed crimes.
No, it is not like that. I'm saying what I know.
All right? So you went back to State House. So therefore, you did not participate in the events that led to the killing or the extrajudicial killing of the other soldiers who were captured previously.
That is correct.
So let's get your testimony correct. November 11, you went out with council members, right, to cross the counter coup. That's what happened, right?
That's correct.
And in the process, you saw nobody beaten. You saw nobody shot. You saw nobody killed. Yet you participated in this event. That's what you want us to believe.
That is what happens, Counsel.
That's strange, isn't it? I would leave it at that. So let's move on. In fact, before that, let me play the video for Ensa Mendy. You would hear what he has to say about what happened immediately after the shooting of the soldiers at Fajara Barracks. You would see in his testimony that there is no mention of this order by Sana that all those from State House should return to State House. I'll ask the technicians to play the video of Esa Mendy. It's not ready. All right. We'll move on. We will move on. But let me just make it clear to you that none of the witnesses recall or mention an order given by Sana Sabali for the soldiers from State House to return to State House. What do you say to that?
Well, I can say immediately they came back from Mile 2. We were ordered to go back to State House, meaning our mission that day was ended. So at least to the council members, everybody go and join the guy you are responsible for.
And that was the end of things?
What I know.
Well, what you know is different from what everybody has said. That is the reason why your testimony is not believable.
And that is how it goes, Counsel.
That is what you want to tell us. That's what you want us to believe.
Oh, that is what I know.
And the reason is you don't want to be present where the torture happened. You don't want to be seen as having participated in the torture. You don't want to be seen as having participated in the shooting of the soldiers at Fajara. You don't want to be seen to to have participated in the shooting of the soldiers at Yundum Barracks. You also don't want to be seen as having participated in the shooting and killing of the soldiers in the forest.
Yes, because I was not present.
Yes, because you don't want to be seen as having participated.
It is not like that.
Okay, so you went all night in this operation. You saw nothing wrong. Not a single thing happened. You have no response.
Arrests were made, and in my presence, they were taken to Mile 2. So.
No, you said they were taken to the guard room.
Those at Yundum, those who were arrested at Yundum were left there in the guard room. But those who were arrested in Fajara Barracks were taken to Mile 2 while I was lying down.
Who was arrested at Fajara Barracks?
I couldn't know exactly because I was lying down in the guard room.
Who took them to Mile 2?
The soldiers I went with.
Did you go along with them?
No, I was lying down.
Which particular soldier took them to Mile 2?
I couldn't tell.
How do you know they were taken to Mile 2?
Because when I was being taken to the guard room, I overheard that they are going to take those arrested there to Mile 2.
But at this stage you had collapsed.
Yes, this is what I mean. I overheard it.
So you collapsed, but you overheard it?
I collapsed. I was still conscious. It's only that I lose strength. I lose strength, but I was conscious.
You want us to believe that?
And this is the Truth Council.
You said you collapsed.
Yes.
And you were carried.
I was carried because I lose strength. I couldn't stand on my own.
And you can recall them saying that these guys will be taken to Mile 2?
Yes, because I was still conscious, mentally.
Okay. Interesting. Mr. Senghor, your testimony is certainly very interesting. But let me tell you that those arrested were taken to Mile 2 after the killings at Yundum Barracks.
No, Council.
So you say that is also wrong?
In Fajara Barracks, all those who were arrested were taken to Mile 2. But those arrested in Yundum, we left them at the barracks prior to attack Fajara Barracks.
Okay. So your testimony is that those who were arrested at Yundum Fajara Barracks were taken to Mile 2. Well, the evidence we have is that straight from Fajara Barracks, Sana Sabali went to Radio Gambia and made an announcement and joined the rest of the soldiers in Fajara Barracks, in Yundum Barracks, excuse me. That is the evidence. You say that is wrong?
No, I didn't say so. All I said was, when soldiers arrested from Fajara Barracks were taken to Mile 2, council members and their orderlies went back. They didn't travel with us to State House.
Where did they go?
Back to Yundum Barracks.
Yes, so it means, let's get it straight. Edward Singate, Yankuba Toure, Sana Sabali, Sadibo Haidara, and their list of orderlies. You mentioned Ensa Mendy. I have the list here. You mentioned Ensa Mendy, Jali Musa Sow, JCB Mendy, somebody called Sow, Sekou Jase, Mustafa Toure Churo, Alfuseni Suso, Njai Ponkal, some other Njai Baba or something you said, Bakari Jiba, Bach Samba Jalo, and Lamin Fati. These are the people who went back to Yindum Barracks.
Yes.
And these are the people who would obviously participate in the rest of the events, correct?
That is a likelihood, Counsel.
Mr. Witness, this is, according to the evidence, far from the truth. The entire group went back to Yindum Barracks.
No, Counsel.
The only reason you are saying this is because you don't want to be included in that group that went back to Yindum Barracks and committed the heinous crimes that took place there. You want to save yourself from responsibility.
No, Counsel, it is not like that.
All right. So let's move on. You talked about when you went back to Fajara Barracks, what happened to you, to State House, excuse me, what happened to your career afterwards?
I continued serving the military.
And where were you posted?
State Guards.
Okay. So can you tell us what happened after Sana Sabali was arrested?
I continued still working.
Did you have occasion to go to Mile 2 at any stage during that period?
No, before this period.
Before which period?
Before Sana Sabali was arrested.
What did you go to do?
I was taken to Mile 2 for interrogations.
To interrogate who?
There were a lot. Most of them were senior officers.
And what was your role?
I was part of the team.
The team of what? Or the team of who?
A team of soldiers led by Alaji Martin.
To do what?
To interrogate them.
Can you tell us who you interrogated?
I personally interrogated RSM Fai, RSM Babukar Sanyang, and Musa Cede. Because I was having a personal issue between me and these three people.
Tell us how it happened, and tell us what happened in detail, please.
I think a few months before 94, the then President Jawara traveled out of jurisdiction, and he was to come back early in the morning. So we were asked to go home, prepare our uniform and boots, and come back to the barracks by midnight, which I failed to do. I decided that I will make it early in the morning. So by 4 a.m., I joined a workers' bus coming from GPTC depot to collect GPTC staffs who lives in Bakau. It was so early that only two of us were managed to make it on time to board those vehicles. So it was only two of us, me and Musa Cede, who make it on time to join the workers' bus. So in the bus, I was even trying to dodge away from him because he was like a father to me. I was born in his presence. So instead of taking his own seat, he came and sit beside me and asked me, why didn't you sleep in the barracks? I tried to explain, but he stopped me. I definitely wanted to lie to him, but he stopped me before I even go further. He told me that service don't know this. For instance, even you were asked to do something and one of your parents is late, you have to go to the barracks. He took permission. If you are permitted, you go back. If not, you have to continue your work. So let me desist from such practice. I was even surprised because his name was not that good in the barracks, because people see him as very strict somebody. So I was surprised with the advice he gave me. We took the workers' bus up to GPDC depot. Then we boarded another one heading to Tabokoto. It was in the rainy season. The moment we arrived at Tabokoto, it started raining. So there was a vehicle coming, and the engine shows me that this might be an officer's Land Rover, because there used to be a Land Rover dispatched purposely for officers. So I volunteered and went under the rain and stopped the Land Rover. It stopped some few meters from where I was. Then me and Musa Sise joined that Land Rover to the barracks. The Land Rover went directly to the officer's mess. Officer's mess is not far from the guard room. Sorry, from the cookhouse. So I saw soldiers taking their breakfast, but all of them were with their arms. So I decided to first go to the armory, withdraw my weapon, then join them to have breakfast. After doing this, even those who were very close to me didn't know that I don't sleep in the barracks, because they would have asked me yesterday, I was looking for you, but I didn't see you. So then I knew that nobody knew about it. So we went to the airport. Excuse me. When we formed up, the Guard of Honor provides 2 ranks. Then behind the ranks, you have the band and drum, but their band master, a drum major will be in front. That is covering the RSM of the infantry soldiers. So it's there where he reported me to RSM 5. Immediately after the Guard of Honor, somebody called me. He's late now. He's just started to explain to me what he had. Then RSM himself called me, RSM 5, and asked me to double up. So when I went to RSM 5, he asked me, why didn't you sleep in the barracks yesterday? I wanted to respond, and he shouted on me to shut up. So he told me to report to his office immediately we entered the guard room. And this was on a Friday. If you commit an offense in Yundum barracks those days on a Friday, you will spend the whole weekends there. You will be detained. So I said to myself, it has already happened, so I will not sleep in the barracks. What will happen will happen. My only worry that time was how to return my rifle, because orders were given that whoever retrieve your rifle from the armory, that is, if you sign it out, you have to sign in. So anybody I approach, even the closest guys with me, they will remind me of that order. So I said, then RSM will get me. So as I was sitting on the truck going back to the barracks, one of my class, he's late now, he was killed in the Katong attack. He told me that in Mandinka, Coup class bring your rifle, I will return it. So as soon as we entered the barracks, I found the back gate. I went through the back gate to the primary school on the highway, I've gone. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then Monday, I came back to work. We were in first parade, I saw the RP come in. The moment I saw that RP, I said, well, this one is for me. So the RP took permission from my platoon sergeant, and I was asked to follow him. We went to RSM 5's office. He told me it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I said yes. He told me today is Monday, then it will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You'll spend in the cells before we can talk about it. So I said, okay. So I was there up to the second day after work, evening time. The RSM asked one of the RPs to take me to his home, that he was living in the barracks. So I went to his house. He started advising me that I am too young in the job, less than two years. If he should levy charges against me, it will affect my file, my personal file. So he's going to forgive me. If I wish, I can go home at that moment. This was like after 6. Or I sleep till the following day, he will give me a whole day off. So I calculated this and see that it's better I sleep, because by the time I leave Yundum Barracks to Bakau, it will be in the darkness, so, and I also report the following morning. So I decided to sleep. In the morning, he also honored his promise. As soon as he came, he asked for my release. Then I went home. Surprisingly, after 3 weeks or so, I was charged again. So the charges were conducted at my company headquarters, but it didn't meet the company commander there, that Momodu Baje. Maybe he went on an official errand. So the charges were to be, the orderly room was to be taken by Edward Singate. But now, the problem with them was they didn't have anybody to witness that case. They were calling people because I was standing outside and I was overhearing them. Anybody they call, that person will refuse. So they called Babukar Sanyang, and he agreed. When Babukar found me at the office entrance, he asked me, what is going on here? I told him, you are the one they call and you accepted to be the witness. Go inside and ask them. Because there and then I know that advantage was being taken on me, so I was ready to be dismissed that day.
Are you happy with this arrangement?
Never.
Proceed.
So I was called in and the charges were read to me. I plead not guilty. Then Edward Singate put down his pen and said, look, I shouldn't even conduct this orderly room. Even the company commander, these charges are above him. You should be referred to the battalion commander, the Nigerian. And those days, that guy said, if somebody have an offense, a lance corporal, the chain of command, cannot treat it. If it reaches him, he will dismiss you, meaning you are not a good soldier. So Edward asked me to take whatever comes my way, because he cannot also afford to lose a soldier like me. So I take it in good faith. I was awarded 14 days detention.
So this is your second trial for the same offense?
Sorry?
This is your second trial for the same offense, correct?
Yes.
So you are being punished the second time for the same offense?
For the second time on the same offense.
How do you feel about that?
Very bad.
You were angry with the people who subjected you to this?
I even took it personally.
Okay. So these were, who was responsible for this situation? RSM 5?
I think 5 is responsible.
Sanyang and Cede.
Yes,
these three people were responsible for the fact that you were being punished twice for the same offense.
Yes.
And you were not happy about it.
Yes.
You were bitter.
Yes.
Good. So tell us what happened in November.
So when they were affected by this November 11 and we went to Mile 2, people, some detainees were being tortured.
By who?
By the team I went with. Exactly, I cannot remember who.
Tell us who was in the team. Who led the team?
Alhaji Martin led the team.
What was his rank at the time?
And he was a staff sergeant, if I am not mistaken.
What is his rank today?
I think he's a general.
General where?
In the army.
So Alhaji Martin led the team of torturers, correct?
That I went with that day.
But apart from Alhaji Martin, you can't remember the name of any other member of that team?
No, I cannot remember the team members. Because
are you avoiding to mention their names?
No, this is a long time, Council. But the thing is...
But you all know one another?
But the thing is, there was this amalgamation and it doesn't took much time then. The young from the Zandam were amalgamated with the soldiers, so you cannot know everybody.
But you remember Alhaji Martin,
because
he was the leader of the torturers, and you were in that group, correct?
I knew Alhaji Martin since I was a child. Because
the question is, you were part of that group?
At 3 years I was.
So tell us what happened when you arrived at Mile 2.
When we arrived at Mile 2, detainees were brought in the hall, and they were being tortured.
Yes, can you tell us who was being tortured?
I cannot remember these detainees exactly.
Can you describe how the torturing was happening?
Some by slapping, kicking, butt stroke. So when they brought these 3, I was saying...
Which 3?
That is RSM 5, Babukar Sanyang and Musa Cede.
But before they were brought, some other people were brought before them.
Yes.
And what happened to those people?
They were beaten.
By who?
By the group I went with.
And tell us the order, the hierarchy. You said Elijah Martin was the leader. What was your rank at this stage?
I was a private soldier.
Who was the number 2?
I couldn't remember.
All these others, were they also private soldiers?
Maybe there might be a rank holder, but I can't remember exactly.
You can't recall? All right, but Elijah Martin was running the show, that's what you said?
He was the leader.
Yeah.
He was the head.
So this first batch, you said they were tortured by way of beating, slapping, kicking, and butt stroke, correct?
Correct.
Was anything else done to them apart from that type of torture?
No, after that they were returned back to their cells and brought in this team, these 3 people.
So these 3 people comprising of who?
Musa Cede, RSM Fai, and Babukar Sanyang.
All at the same time?
No, at intervals.
At intervals. Yes. Who came first?
I couldn't remember.
So you said they were brought at intervals. So how did it happen? One person brought?
No, maybe 2 to 3 people at a time.
3 people were brought?
Together.
And they were brought at intervals?
No, these 3 were brought together.
They were
before these 3, there were others before these 3.
So those others were tortured?
Yes.
By your group?
Yes.
Did you participate?
No.
You did not participate?
I did not participate.
You were just a bystander?
Yes.
Okay. And then the second group?
Was these 3 that I mentioned.
Fai, Cede, and Sanyang?
Yes.
And what happened with these 3 when they were brought?
When they were brought, they were asked to sit on the floor. Then I turned to Elijah Martin and asked permission that I will be dealing with these 3 people. At that instance, even Elijah Martin thought these people will have more than what the others have. So,
what do you mean by that?
That I am going to deal with these 3 personally. Nobody will participate in their interrogation.
You said these people will have
no
more than what the other group would have, the other group was given. That's what you said.
I said, when I took the permission, maybe Elijah Martin was thinking that these people will have more than what the first guys have.
What do you mean by that?
Because maybe they will be expecting that I will torture them mercilessly. So the permission was granted.
So to permit to torture them mercilessly?
Yes.
Okay, what happened after that?
So what happens, I begin talking to RSM Fai to ask him, why did you punish me? I slept 2 days in the cells. You forgive me between, you said, according to Elijah Fai, he said between a Jola and a Serer, he is going to forgive me. But let me desist from such stubbornness again. So I appreciated that time. So when I asked him in mile 2, he told me that it was Musa Cede who wasn't, happy or satisfied by the way I was punished. So I told him, but you've already forgiven me. Why charging me again? Did you not fear God? He kept quiet. Then I turned to Musa Cede and told him, when I passed out and came to Yundum Barracks, it was only you and the bad master that I knew, because I was born in your presence. I was a small boy in your presence. So I was looking up to you as a father. Like if I should have any difficulty or problem in this camp, you are the one I should rely on. But for him, he couldn't even speak. Then when I turned to Babukar, I told him to swear between him and God if he have known anything about the offense I committed that day. He kept quiet. Then he later responded to me that we used to do it for one another. If I charge somebody and I fail to have a witness, I can just call you and say, boy, come on, witness for me. I told him, but you are witnessing something you didn't know about. You didn't even fear God. I told them that here I have the power now to pay back, to do anything I feel like. But I promise you that even a single harm will not be laid on you people.
And then what happened?
And that's how it went.
They were not beaten?
At that day.
Nothing happened to them?
At that day.
They were sent back to their cells?
Their cells, yes.
That is your testimony?
That is my testimony.
Even all this grudge that you had all these years, now they were in your charge, you could do anything you wanted, you just let them go?
Simply because I finally found the truth. So they have to forgive and forget.
You had mercy?
Because of even the situation they were in, I felt it for them much more to revenge again, personally.
It surprised Martin, didn't it?
It might be because they all heard what I was saying, so they feel the advantage that was taken on me.
So Martin accepted your request?
Yes.
And let them go?
Yes.
Mr. Witness, tell us the truth.
And this is the truth.
You tortured them mercilessly?
No, I never
did. Didn't you?
Even a hand was not laid on them.
Okay,
on
now
that particular day.
Let's look at the evidence that we have. Sanyang said, you tortured him mercilessly. That's what Sanyang said. Let's play the video. The technicians play us the testimony of Lieutenant Colonel Babukar Sanyang, where he talked about his torture at Mile 2 prison.
You know, he said, look, handle him. So this handle him, all of a sudden I saw a plastic bag being put on my head.
The RSM at the time?
Yes.
That's him, right?
That's him, yeah.
Let's listen to him, what he has to say. Could you kindly take it back a little bit?
You know, he said, look, handle him. So this handle him, all of a sudden I saw a plastic bag being put on my head and then tied it.
Who put the plastic bag over
The guy behind me.
Do you know who he was?
No. But two guys that I, in fact, confirmed, that is Senghor, Pa Senghor and Ndur. Because Pa Senghor was on my left.
Give us their full names and ranks, please.
Kindly proceed.
Sorry, we know him as Pa Senghor. And this Ndur.
Where is he now?
Ndur is late.
What about Pa Senghor?
Pa Senghor is alive, sorry.
Where is he now?
That is Senghor, Pa Senghor and Ndur. Because Pa Senghor was on my left.
Give us their full names and ranks, please.
Sorry, we know him as Pa Senghor. And this Ndur.
Where is he now?
Ndur is late.
What about Pa Senghor?
Pa Senghor is alive, sorry.
Where is he now?
I don't know. He's working with either SIS or
SIS?
maybe drug squad. I don't know.
Is he with the SIS?
Yes, I think so.
Please proceed.
You know, he asked them to handle me. I said, what? They put that plastic bag on my face, on my head, and then just tied it. Started beating me.
Where did they beat you and how?
Huh?
Where did they beat you and how?
At my back, wherever. Just started beating me. Talk. You know.
Were they using their hands or any particular instrument?
Body, legs, and even the buttstock. So, you know, you can feel, you can exhale, but you cannot inhale.
You accept that he's talking the same incident that you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, he said you guys suffocated him with a plastic bag and you were hitting him all over his body. Is he lying?
It's not correct, Counsel.
This one too is lying?
It's not correct.
It's lying about your involvement?
Yes.
And you are the person who has an interest in his story not being believed?
Yes.
So, and you want us to believe your story?
Is
that they came, you had all this grudge against them for all this time, and when they came this time around, you pleaded for them for nothing to happen to them?
Yes.
But they don't see it your way? They said you tortured them mercilessly.
No, I never did.
You never did?
If I did, I would have just said, yes, I did this to Baba.
No, you don't have the courage to, Mr.
No,
Witness.
it is not about courage.
Let's listen to RSM-5. RSM-5 has a completely different narrative. He was not there at this time. He was not. He was arrested in July and he was released by December. He was not there. What do you say to that?
I disagreed. I maintained my statement that RSM was there.
You tortured Sana Sabali, didn't you?
No. Council, after this visited, I've never been to Mile 2 again while in the army.
Sanyang was arrested not in July. Sanyang was arrested not in November. Sanyang was arrested after Sana Sabali. He was arrested because of Sana Sabali. He was arrested because he visited Sana Sabali's home. What do you say to that?
I have no knowledge about that.
You having selective memory, isn't it?
I have no knowledge about that.
So when you tortured Sanyang, he was tortured immediately after Sana Sabali.
I was not present.
This first batch you mentioned as having been tortured was Sana Sabali's batch.
No.
Mr. Witness, you don't want to be a witness to any torture.
No.
In the group that you mentioned, tortured the first batch, you would not recall their names because you don't want to implicate your colleagues.
It's not about implicating. It's not about implicating.
As far as you can recall, there is no violation of rights that you witnessed.
Yes.
Only one incident, that is the beating of the first batch.
Yes.
You can't recall who's the first batch. You can't recall who beat them.
Yes, that's correct.
You are avoiding mentioning names.
No, I am not.
Because it would come back to haunt you.
I'm not avoiding.
After this particular incident, you said you never went back to Mile 2.
Yes.
What did you do after that?
I continued my work until sometime around 2001. Then another attempt was made. And this was the first time an attempt came within us, that is within the state guards. So I was...
Which year was this?
I can remember something around 2001, either early or mid-2001. So I was in my house, that I slept in my house, and a colleague, a cousin, knocked at my door that there is an attempted coup. My first word was, from which barracks? He told me, no, this is within us, but the caller said the situation is neutralized, so no need for anybody to go to the State House. Then that guy was very young in the job. He was young in the State House, in the State Guards also. So I advised him, well, by 8 o'clock, try and report to the State House for accountability purpose. And I did that myself. By 8 o'clock, I went to the State House. So we were told if anybody is not on essential duty, you can go back home. That was my last day off. I used to have 2 days off. Then the following day, on a Sunday, I reported on duty, and I was posted at the kitchen of the president. The kitchen and our bodyguard guard room are almost near. So we were there. I saw a group of soldiers approaching us, coming towards us. Automatically, I knew something is going on. But to me, maybe they are coming to look for reinforcement from those who were sitting there with me. So when they arrived, they asked me to come to the guard room, to enter the guard room. So like I said, I have no other thought than maybe they are looking for reinforcement. So when I entered the guard room, I was asked to surrender my pistol. I said, why? They said, because you are among the suspects. So I removed my pistol, clear it, remove the round in the chamber, because I always put the round in the chamber and host it. So I removed that round, return it in the mark, and hand over the pistol and the mark. So by the time this process was going on, I can realize a lot of people that come with the group have sneaked away. So the sergeant who led that group also felt the same thing, so he asked me to wait for further notice. I went back to where I was sitting and continued my duties. Then around 4, I went out of the State House for almost an hour plus. But when I was going, I found a soldier at the gate. He was slinging his weapon across his chest. We used to play draft, so I asked him to go with me to the guard room, main guard room. That is the physical guard room, to go and play draft. So he asked me to wait till the civilian population went home, then we can play draft, so I went. On my return, as I entered the State House, I saw a group standing. I said, yes, something have happened behind me. As I was going towards that group, a particular sergeant, Sergeant Bojang, Paul Bojang, Baukar Paul Bojang, also was walking, coming towards me. So when we met, he told me that I will be giving you back your pistol, but you have to go to your house and undress to civilian dress. I forgot this guy's initial, but he is Dumbuya. He told me Dumbuya have run away with his rifle and entered the market. So we are going to find him. But let's meet at Greenland. I was not far from there. I was living then at Picton Buckle. So as I was approaching the Greenland, I had almost 2 shots. So I just went directly towards the direction I had the shot coming from. When I arrived, I found Dumbuya lying down. He sustained 2 gunshot wounds on the abdomen.
Did you participate in the killing of Dumbuya?
I even had the shot before I reached there.
The question is, did you participate in the killing of Dumbuya?
No, Counsel.
This is a matter that would be investigated. It's in conjunction with the killing of Almamo Mane. We would investigate this. We haven't quite come to that point yet, but you are under oath.
Yes.
You are testifying before the commission. It's a crime. To lie under oath, it's also a crime to lie before the commission. You are saying that you did not participate in the killing of Dumbuya, Corporal Dumbuya. That's your testimony.
That's correct.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Let's fast forward to your transfer from State House.
No, I wasn't transferred.
Your subsequent
when I saw
move from State Guards to junglers.
No.
Tell us about your move from State House and your training and enlistment into the junglers.
Okay. Immediately after that attempted coup.
Which one?
That was the coup that Almamo and the State Guard Commander Landing Sane involved, where Almamo loses his life. And
did you participate in the killing of Almamo?
Never.
Did you participate in the attack in which Landing Sane was arrested?
No. This attack was done by soldiers who came from Kanilai. I think it was led by the late Musa Jammeh. They are the one who conducted that operation.
How about the killing of Dumbuya, Corporal Dumbuya?
The killing of Dumbuya, I was on the ground. Like I said, I was heading to the Greenland as instructed. Then I had gunshots, almost 2 shots.
Where is Greenland?
Greenland is, you know where the BICI bank was? If you continue going to the beach, that is where it's called Greenland.
Wasn't it there he was apprehended?
He wasn't apprehended. I found him sustaining 2 gunshot wounds on the abdomen.
At Greenland?
At Greenland, on the beach.
How many soldiers pursued him?
I found there are nearly 4 to 5 soldiers.
And you're claiming that you did not participate in that event?
I found Dumbuya on the ground.
You're claiming you did not participate in that event? Okay,
I didn't participate in the killing, but I went and changed dress to civilian clothing to come and find Dumbuya. So as I was coming, I had the gunshots.
No, you said you were going to Greenland?
Yes, after changing dress, I was heading to the Greenland.
To do what?
To join the group as instructed.
You joined the group looking for Dumbuya?
Dumbuya, yes, as instructed.
Exactly. With the aim of apprehending him?
Apprehending him.
Okay, so as you approached, he was shot?
I had 2 gunshots.
Who shot him?
I couldn't tell because then I was not visible.
Let me just take you back to the torture of Sanyang. The investigators have just received a statement from Musa Cede, and he said the narrative you gave never occurred, never happened.
That's the truth, Counsel.
Who has the truth, Musa Cede or you?
What I said is the truth.
Okay. Musa Cede has denied that what you said ever happened. He said you lie. RSM Fai said you lied. He was never there during that time. He was tortured after July. The narrative you gave is false. Sanyang, you have heard what he said. He too said what you said is false. Are all these people lying?
Yes, Counsel.
They all lying to implicate you. Is that what you suggesting?
I don't know what is in them, but the statement I gave was correct.
Pa Sanyang said you tortured him. He lied. Abdoulaye Dabo said you tortured him. You saying he lied. All these people who testified before us, they all lied about the same facts that you're talking about. You're the only one who's speaking the truth. You want us to believe that?
Well, Counsel, I know the statement I gave was correct.
Okay. So let's continue with the issue of Dumbuya.
Yes.
So you arrived just a little after he was shot.
I arrived, as I was approaching the location I was directed, I had gunshots.
So, Mr. Witness, you in fact never earned your nickname, Assassin.
Well,
because you never were present when anything ever happened.
I was never an assassin. I get that name. I get this name because like I was a fast learner. I was very young when I joined the army.
No, you got the name because you always wielded a hammer when you tortured your victims.
No, that is not correct.
That's where you got the name Assassin.
No, that is Panderi's view.
And the story that we have received from these witnesses you tortured, they said you guys wielded hammers when you went to torture your victims in Mile 2.
That is not correct. Counsel, this nickname, I have it in 1991.
But you have this name Assassin for no reason because, I mean, fast learners are never called assassins.
No, excuse me, I'll come to that. Council.
No, you answer questions. Fast learners are never called assassin, correct?
Correct.
So assassin means you killer.
That is what it means.
Yes, but you claim you have never witnessed any killing.
Never.
You've never participated in any.
Never.
You've never witnessed any torture.
Never.
You've never participated in any.
Never.
Yet you had this name assassin.
This name, Council, if you can allow me, when we arrived at the training of weapons.
We've gone through that.
No, this was
the thing is,
routine.
you did not deserve this name, assassin.
Okay.
You did not. But you were called assassin.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, Dumbuya, let's go past that. You were never there, you never participated. We would call you again with regards to this particular issue because it's being investigated. Let's fast forward to the time you became a jungler.
The time I became a jungler, after that attempted coup of Almamu.
In 2000,
yes.
Yes.
I was removed from the bodyguard units, transferred back to the fiscal guard, and immediately transferred to Kanilai for a 1 month tour of duty. So when I arrived there, I found Sering Modu Njai as the commander there. So he told me to relieve the checkpoint guard commander. I am to be there for a week. So I did that. My 1 week elapsed. I was supposed to be relieved also and have 2 days off. But Sering Modu sent somebody to call me in his house. When I arrived, he told me, Senghor, I want you to do another 1 week tour of duty because I have realized how you control the loitering within HE's compound. So I said, no problem. I did another tour of duty. While in the bathroom after that tour of duty, taking bath, I heard noise, soldiers coming from Banjul. So the same commander sent somebody to call me. I went on that occasion with a towel to go and answer to him. So when I arrived, he told me there's a group of soldiers who came from Banjul. You have to join them for a training. That is this jungle training. We did this training nearly to 4 months. So when we passed out, I was posted back to the bodyguard unit.
And what was this jungler training about?
It was like a counter-terrorism, or I can call it.
You were to be trained to be assassins.
So even...
You were to be trained to be killers.
No. Even the guy responsible of training knew that I look low upon his knowledge in what he was training us. Because maybe...
You were already assassin. You already knew more about killing than he did.
Maybe somewhere within the top rankers, he have managed to baffle them and make them believe in what he was doing.
So what was it that he was teaching them?
Excuse me?
What was it that he was teaching them?
Something like to counter terrorism. But it was called junglers.
That's your testimony, that what he was teaching was counter-terrorism. He was not teaching you to be assassins, he was not teaching you to be killers.
No.
That's your testimony.
Yes.
You are under oath, you are being video recorded. The junglers would appear here, and we have statements from them. And the idea is they were trained to be killers.
Which I was not part of.
But you trained to be jungler nonetheless?
I did the course.
Okay, all right. So you were trained to be counter-terrorist. And what subjects did you do in counter-terrorism?
Maneuvers. Basically maneuvers.
Maneuvers, you mean movements.
Exactly.
How to take positions to do what?
To attack defensive positions, how to dislodge a defended position.
Do with what objective?
On security matters.
No. To penetrate defensive positions.
Or dislodge.
For what objective?
So in case like we have a threat,
to neutralize the threat,
Exactly.
which is to kill those who making the threat.
Yes, Council.
So you are being trained to kill.
Not actually killing.
I am lost here. You are being trained to neutralize the threat, which is to kill the threat, but you are not trained to kill. That's your logic.
No, not exactly that.
So you are trained to kill.
Oh, correct.
Finally, you accept. You are trained to kill. All right. So after the training, what happened to you?
I was returned back to the bodyguards unit.
Did you participate in any jungler activity?
No.
That is your testimony?
Yes.
Well, we would still come back to this. It's being investigated. You are testifying under oath. You did not participate in any jungler operation.
That's correct.
That's your testimony.
Correct.
Again, you did not see anybody killed. You did not participate in any killing.
That is correct.
That's your testimony?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Let's forget about the junglers. Let's now move on to when you left the service. We are running out of time. Mr. Chair, I'll ask for 10-15 minutes to wrap this one up. So let's skip how and why you left the army. Let's just say you left the army and you now moved on to NIA. That is it? You joined the NIA afterwards, correct?
Yes, I passed through somewhere before coming to the NIA.
Yes, well, we would skip those. They're not so important to your testimony, right?
Okay.
So you joined the NIA, and what responsibilities were you given?
My surprise, I was made a security guard.
During whose leadership at the NIA?
I joined the NIA, I think I found Pajalo there, Director Pajalo.
Could you say again, sir?
I found Director Pajalo there.
Pajalo. And which year would this be?
This will
2003, correct?
No, I left the army in 2003, joined the NIA in 2007.
Okay, good. And you were made a security guard during this period?
Yes.
Did this position change subsequently?
Yes.
And subsequently, which position did you hold?
I was made an operative.
An NIA operative?
Yes.
And with whom were you working at the time?
When my status was changed, I was posted under the operations unit.
Under whose leadership?
Under Alaji Mor.
Could you say the name again?
Under Alaji Mor.
Alaji Mor, what was his last name?
His Job. The real name is Idrissa Job.
Did you, as an NIA operative, participate in any torture?
No, Council.
Do you know that the name you mentioned is one of the most notorious names to come from the NIA, and you are directly working with him?
That's correct.
You are agreeing that the name is one of the most notorious names, correct?
No, I'm not agreeing to that.
You said that's correct.
I mean, I work under him. That's why I said correct.
Did you participate in any torture at the NIA?
No.
Did you see any torture being conducted at the NIA?
I cannot say I see, but before I became an operative, like I said, I was a security guard responsible for detainees. I sometimes come to work and see marks on detainees. That shows that they were beaten.
Being what?
Bodily marks.
What?
Marks on their bodies.
So that shows they were being what?
Beaten.
So, and who was doing the beating?
Well, then I cannot tell. Then I was a security guard.
Would it be the NIA operatives?
It is an NIA officer, but whom exactly I can't tell.
But when you became an operative,
yes,
you saw no beating?
When I became an operative, posted under the operations unit, our responsibilities were then, if we are given an order to go and arrest somebody that the agency needs, you go and arrest them, hand them over to the investigation unit. Or you are instructed to go to mile 2 for a particular detainee who is to appear in court as a state witness. You will do that. After the court, you return the guy back.
You know, I am trying to digest this, Mr. Witness. Here you have Alaji Moore in one hand, an assassin on the other hand. That is a lethal combination.
No, Counsel, I don't see it that way.
You are a torturer at the NIA?
No, I am not, Counsel.
You're still trying to stay away from responsibility. The NIA definitely would be investigated. The role of Alaji Moore and others would be investigated. And obviously, your name would also be investigated. You can only be entitled to amnesty if you are honest and truthful. If you lie, you can potentially go to jail. Do you understand? This is not a joke, Mr. Witness. And I put it to you that your statement is false. Let's move on. You left NIA and you moved to where next?
DLEAG.
What is that?
That is Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Gambia.
Essentially the drug squad?
Yes.
With who did you move there?
Together with Alaji Moore.
So you were moved to the drug squad for more effectiveness in the fight against drugs, isn't it?
Not actually. We were moved there based on the drug squad was introducing an intelligence branch. So Alaji Moore was to head it, and he was given a departmental transfer, and he took me along.
He took you along. So obviously he will take with him one of his most loyal subordinates, wouldn't he?
That is possible.
One of the most effective in their work. And the drug squad at that time was known for committing lots of tortures, correct?
That's correct.
Alaji Moore, an assassin, correct?
No, I disagree, Counsel.
So again, you did no torture?
That is correct.
You witnessed no torture?
That is correct.
So let's try to understand you as a person. You are called assassin by the army. You participated in November 11. You saw nobody beaten. You saw nobody tortured. You participated in the attack at Fajara Barracks. You collapsed. You saw nobody beaten. You saw nobody tortured. You saw nobody shot. You participated in you were present in the torture of detainees at Mile 2. You can't recall who tortured who. People were brought in to be tortured. You pleaded for them, they were not tortured. You were present at State House when an alleged coup was supposed to take place. You were sent to Greenland. You arrived there just to find that the target, Dumbuya, was shot. You did not see him shot. You don't know who shot him or how he was shot. You were moved later to the junglers. You became a jungler, but you participated in no jungler operation. You were moved to drug squad, or rather to the NIA. The NIA operatives were committing torture, but you never saw it. But when you became an operative, there was no torture. And then you worked with Alaji Moore, an assassin. In the minds of a lot of people would spell torture, but you did nothing. You moved on to the drug squad. You agree it was notorious for torture. You saw no torture. You did no torture. That is your testimony.
That is correct.
So, you are selected in your job to do a lot of interrogation, first with Alaji Martin, next with Alaji Moore in drugs in NIA, thereafter with Alaji Moore at drug squad. Have you ever had any training to do interrogations?
No.
So you just went and put your subjects down and then you questioned them?
That is correct.
And no training. What was your rate of success?
It was high.
Very high. They would talk, wouldn't they? But you had no technique, no training in doing this.
That is correct.
And I put it to you, Mr. Witness, that the only reason why you scored such a high rate of success is you were beating the answers out of these witnesses, out of these people. You are wielding a hammer, crossing their hands, beating them to submission. That's what you did. That's why they called you assassin.
That is not correct, counsel.
So, after NIA, you joined drug squad, you were still successful, but you didn't beat anybody.
That is correct.
But your colleagues with whom you work, they call you a torturer, they call you an assassin, and you say all of them are lying. That's your testimony.
That is correct.
I have no further questions for the witness. I just remind you that you have lied all through your testimony, and lying before the commission has consequences. You have been warned. You now have an opportunity to say something before I cede the floor to the commissioners. What do you say?
Yes, what I want to appeal from this commission.
No. What I just want to give you the chance to say something about your testimony in view of the warning I have just given you, that lying before the commission has consequences. You have a chance now to change some of the things you have said, if you want to. If you maintain this testimony, it means you are prepared to live with the consequences of being found to have lied under oath or before the commission. So the choice is yours. I don't make the decision whether you have lied or not. My opinion is that you are not being truthful. But if it is found that you have lied, it may have consequences. So I give you the chance, one last chance, to say whatever you want to say regarding your testimony. Just regarding your testimony. If you want to change something, change it now.
I maintain my statement, Counsel.
Mr. Chair, I hand over the witness for further questions by members of the Commission.
Thank you very much, Counsel, and thank you, Mr. Senghor, for your testimony. Before giving the floor to any commissioner who may want to ask questions, just want to find out from you, very simple, I will make a very simple point. The primary objective of this commission under the Act is to create an impartial historical record of abuses and violations of human rights from 1994 to 2017. Witnesses come here to testify, to assist us in carrying out that mandate of creating a historical record of violations. Is it your view that the time that you have spent in the security services, from the Gambian National Army all the way to the drug squad, that you had never, ever seen any violation or abuse of human rights during the period that you served? Or, alternatively, please tell us if you had ever seen any violation, any abuse of human rights as envisaged under the Act. It's a very simple question. That should help us. As I said, the purpose of this commission is the purpose of you, witnesses appearing before the commission, is to assist us in carrying this out.
Yes, violation of people's right occurred, but I never participated. I knew this by hearsay, particularly after the 11th November. I would just heard that so person have been taken out from mile 2, and that's the end of it. But it occurred.
So you still maintain that you have not seen any violation, you have not participated in any violation at all?
I don't see, I didn't participate, but I heard.
Thank you. Commissioners, Bishop, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Lamin Senghor, in your description, when the council members went to State House to consult with the chairman, after their consultation, they came down, and then they told you that you have to go to Yundum to go and crush a planned coup, and they asked for volunteers. You yourself, personally, volunteered your services to go and crush that coup plot, the counter coup. Now, when they say to go and crush, and you went with your weapons and things like that, what crushing of a coup entail? Can you please explain that?
Thank you. It entails a lot of things. That is, people might lose their lives there. People can be captured, detained, or even tortured.
So it is right to say that all of those things that you have just explained actually happened on that day.
Very correct, sir.
Thank you, Bishop. Commissioner Kinte.
Senghor, you said on the occasion of Babukar, Sanyang, and Aresempai and Cede, there were two badges. The first badge were dealt with, and the second badge, which include these three, were reserved for you, for your action. Is that correct?
It was not actually reserved for me. I stood in and seek for permission to deal with them personally.
That's the reservation. You asked them to be reserved for you in particular.
That's correct.
Fine. You remember those names and how it went about?
Come again, sir?
You remember the three names and how the events unfolded, went about?
Yes.
But you could not remember the preceding group, and you were present?
Yes, correct.
Again, when you were, Sana discharged you and said, those from the State Guard can go back to Banjul. Which transport did you use to go to Banjul, to return to Banjul?
I think it was a four-wheel drive, something like a Nissan Patrol.
You think it was four-wheel drive? Yes. And you said a good number of you came from State Guard. You were able to fit in one four-wheel drive?
No, I was in one of them. It was two.
There were two four-wheel drives?
Two vehicles went back to Banjul.
Can you describe the one you boarded?
It was a Nissan Patrol.
It was a Nissan Patrol. The color?
I can't actually remember the color.
Do you know that you have remembered the color of the vehicle that Lieutenant Barrow used? You described it as blue?
Yes.
And you cannot remember the color of the vehicle you yourself have boarded all the way to Banjul?
Yes, I cannot remember simply because Basiru was using that vehicle prior to the incident. So even if the vehicle passed me in the streets, I will know that this is Basiru's vehicle.
But this other one, where was the source?
This was stationed at the State Guards.
And that's where you were all along. So you must have been used to that one also.
This is just like 4 months or so prior to this day.
But 4 months using a vehicle, you cannot even tell which color it had?
No, I cannot remember, honestly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kinte. Imam Jallo, you have the floor, please.
Commissioner Jallo, witness, you made a voluntary statement before coming to this commission, which I'm sure you signed and accepted, full responsibility. Now you come before this commission and you have decided to change your mind. Can you give me reasons why you are doing this to us?
Thank you, sir. I'm not deciding to change my mind. I am saying what is in my statement, and this is the truth.
Just to assist the commissioners, yes, the witness did change his mind from what is contained in his statement on 2 occasions. The first is the trip to Banjul and the negotiations that was made by the coup leaders to give them access to the bridge, to cross the bridge. Clearly he lied about that because he did say he engaged those who blocked the bridge by walking over, brandishing his machine gun, and threatened those who were holding the bridge, and as a result they let go. But he later admitted that what is contained in his statement is true. On that occasion he did change his mind. Another issue where he changed his mind is the reason for his collapse. The first interview with witnesses, with the investigators, he said it was the gas, but later he changed to say that it's because he was tired. But he realized during the questioning that the issue about the fatigue will never fly. He changed his mind again and said it was the gas. So those are the 2 instances in which he changed his story. But the purpose of our examination was to show that his story is so fanciful that it cannot be believed, and that it is so completely different from what every other witness have said. But also, his own victims gave a completely different narrative from what he gave. But that is to be expected. Many perpetrators would not come out and say that the story of the victims is true. That is where we find ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before you adjourn, Mr. Chair, I would still wish to put the statement of the witness in evidence. So I'll allow you to continue, and then I'll do that.
Yes, Counsel, I'll come to you on those that in-house task. But thank you again for those reminders. Commissioner Carr?
Commissioner Carr, as the Council has just explained, if you are able to change your testimony in those two cases, what would make us believe that you didn't change your testimony, or you are not lying to the Commission in the other testimonies that you gave?
That is correct. I am not lying.
Thank you. Imam C, on the floor.
Commissioner Imam C.
My name is Commissioner Imam C.
Lamin Senghor, mang lay laaj ci jaar-jaar yi nga jaar yëpp.
I'm asking you on all
yow
your
kan nga ci
errands that
torokal
you
li nga
have
xamantene loolu
who are the people that
ricci
you
nga ko ci sa xol.
have made suffer?
Kan nga ci def rek li nga xamantene lii moom ricci nga ko ci sa xol.
Who are the people that you made suffer and that you have regretted on?
Ci jaar-jaar yi nga jaar noonu.
All your errands that you have gone through.
Yes, my only regret was I was unable to help my class in that situation. This I regret up to today.
Thank you. If there are no further questions from the Council, please proceed with the...
Yes, Mr. Chair, we would wish to put the statement of the witness into the record, and if accepted, it would be Exhibit 0043.
Request granted. If there are no further questions, we will meet tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and I hope witness for that period would be ready. Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned. See you tomorrow, 10 o'clock.